I was 19 years when I left my world. I had killed a fool who called me a liar. But I ran for the field and I climbed to space, and I drove for the rim on a starship's fire. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. I signed on board the Angel's 10. Her captain heard my tale with a sneer. He looked me up and down and said, "Get aft, you work for the engineer." When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. Now the engineer was a man named Sket. He was tall and dark and damned to hell. A dozen worlds had a price on his head, but he knew stardrives and he knew them well. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. For 4 long years we cruised the rim. I worked for Sket and slowly learned. Strange worlds we touched, but I seldom saw, for I stayed below where the fusion burned. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. In time Sket told me of all his life, of stolen ships and wild rides. 100 tricks a stardrive plays, all this I learned and more besides. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. But fortune scorned the Angel's 10. Her captain grew more cold and mean. We carried strange and deadly loads, and the money we saw was seldom clean. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. At last I'd had my fill of such. Sket called me son and begged me stay, but I left that ship on the next green world, and I watched her lift from far away. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. The years went by on many ships. My skills were sharp and my conscience clear. I built on Sket's foundation, and I rose to the rank of engineer. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. 2 years I'd served on the Pride of Space, and a finer ship you'll never see. When the rumor spread of vanished ships, and the whispered word was piracy. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. We had no warning when they came. Their beam gun fired and fired again. They pierced our hull, and the steel's deep ring was the death song of 5 honest men. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. But I was aft and did not die. The drives cried out as I pulled away, and I vowed as I drove across the sky that a pirate ship would die that day. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. I was all alone, but it mattered not that I had no gunner nor guns to wield, for this was never a duel of guns. My weapon was the power of a stardrive field. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. Across full 500,000 miles, the power of suns bent to my will, to stretch the very shape of space and kill the ship I'd sworn to kill. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. But the pirate's own field blocked my thrust, and struck in turn once and again, and I knew what hand must rule those drives, for the pirate ship was the Angel's 10. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. We turned and drove for half an hour. My drives grew hot and I cursed and swore. For I had skill and speed and power. But Sket had played this game before. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. Then from my screen came Sket's own voice. I do not wish to see you die, but it seems, my son, that I have no choice. And my own voice said, then nor have I. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. Then one last time I drove through night, to live or die the gods decide. Our drive fields met, all space glowed white, and Sket's was the drive that fled and died. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. The Angel's 10 hung dead in space, and gave no sign if her crew survived. But I knew if any man could live, that Sket at least was yet alive. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. I dared not give them time to work, to make repairs, to fight or run. I towed them just 10 trillion miles, and I dropped them into a blue-white sun. When the ship lifts, all debts are paid. Then at last I drove for a friendly sun, with a crippled ship and this tale to tell, of a pirate ship that was once my own, and a man I loved and sent to hell. For when the ship lifts, all debts are paid.